since you've graduated and you've been working with clients and actually using the information that you learned to empower people and change their lives. What questions do you have for me that I can help you with today?
I think it's mostly, well, now, especially with, I think, and that's maybe a question that a lot of people maybe will have, that I have my first couple of clients.
Yeah.
And that will all, and I'm still going with a couple.
Yep.
What was for you, or what's your most effective way to get clients?
I think if you're doing your job well in the beginning with the clients that you start working with, that, half of the job will be, if you do your job well, your clients will go away and they'll tell other people. Yep. It's that classic case of when Harry met Sally. I'll have what she's having. So if you do your job well and you help people to change their lives, to improve their skin, to sleep better and wake up having more energy and being more pleasant to be around, who are raving about you or who are just looking and feeling so much better and their mood has shifted and they're more enjoyable to connect with their friends, and their friends are saying, well, what are you doing lately? You've dropped some weight, or you just look radiant, or you've got more energy. When they tell people about you and the work that they're doing with you, and I would encourage them to do that. It's kind of like students who are doing the course, sometimes they don't want to tell people, oh, I'm studying to be a life coach, or I'm studying to be a health and nutrition coach. I encourage people to talk about it, because when you talk about what you're doing and you're naturally passionate about it, you are sharing that passion with other people, and they can see how genuine you are, and they get sucked into this ideal world of, I wish I could do that, or I wish I could feel like that, or I wish I could finally do something about my own lifestyle or my own health, or put myself first, or attend to my self-care, or finally give myself permission to experience those good things. So it's similar to telling the clients, go out and talk to people. Don't keep the fact that you're doing the course to yourself. Talk to people about it, because you reconfirm and reiterate your learning and understanding of the content by talking about it and discussing it and sharing it, having to articulate it with others. Similar for clients, tell people what you're doing, not just for accountability. It's good to make sure that everybody else in the household or the support system that your client has in their daily life when they're not with you in session, that those people are aware of what they're doing and why, so that they're attaching the meaning to it, and their family or their friends are going to be able to remind them of why they're doing what they're doing and help them along the way, so that they're part of their success. We don't ever do anything really just alone. I mean, we have to make a mental decision on our own, but then putting it into practice and showing up every day often requires the support of the people around us. Yep. So if you encourage your clients to go and tell people what they're doing and get the support they need in the system outside of your coaching sessions with them, then other people will be more aware of what your client's doing. They can provide the support where necessary, and also the encouragement. Wow, you're doing such great work here with that coach. It almost makes me want to go and work with a coach. So by doing that, by encouraging your client to talk about it openly, to actually admit and to confirm out loud to their loved ones or their support network or their friends that I'm doing this, and these are the things that I'm experiencing or I'm learning about from my coach who's helping me implement these things, and these are the benefits that I'm experiencing because of that. That's a walking advertisement.
Yeah.
10 years later, I still get referrals from people who I've worked with years and years ago. That's because they always keep me in mind, because they had a great experience with me. So firstly, focusing on making sure you are providing the best experience for each individual client that you can, that is tailored to them, that uplifts them, that empowers them, that educates them, that increases their satisfaction, fulfillment, and happiness levels, because they are finally achieving the results or the experience that they've been wanting to for quite some time. They'll go then tell other people about that. They'll go recommend you to other people. And that's half of your marketing done for you. So I really want to emphasize that, because it's so powerful. So encourage your clients to talk about their work with you, not to keep it to themselves in case they're fearing of failure. That's something you can help work around with them in your mindset coaching with them. The other aspect is being very specific and strategic of where you go and tell people or leave flyers or leave information about what you do and who you work with. It's no secret. I've told people about this years ago in 2011 when I first began my own private practice. I went out and with my flyers went and dropped into the medical practitioners, medical centers around my area, quite a lot of them. And I made connections with the practice managers. I told them how I could actually help their general practitioners, their GPs, to actually help their patients better in certain situations and circumstances. So for their patients who had high blood pressure, their patients who are on medication or who are on the verge of going onto blood pressure medication or anxiety medication or depression, SSRI medication, those were the people, the patients of the doctors that I could actually help outside of their doctor visits to learn management, stress management techniques, to learn stress relieving techniques, anxiety techniques, meditation and depression techniques, so that I could actually be there more present to their patients in improving their quality of life outside of just needing to go see the doctor, get a sick leave note or a prescription for a drug that may or may not work. So I thought about who else would my ideal clients be going to see? What other professionals or licensed practitioners might they be going to see that might attend to one area of their issue or challenge, but actually isn't addressing the real root cause or providing solutions that they could integrate? Or professionals that aren't trained in mindset or behavior change that could actually partner with the client and help them follow through on taking care of those things that the professionals prescribe for them. The accountability side of helping them integrate those changes into their daily life. So when you think about who else would my ideal client be going to see? What other professionals or licensed practitioners would they be going to see, but still maybe not getting the result they're after, or still not having the actual help or support or accountability outside of those professional sessions and settings to actually feel like they're making headway? Because that's where you come in. Yeah. That's where you can actually help them implement and follow through on what's being prescribed or recommended to them. And that's how you can actually think about, who are these other professionals? How can I connect with them? And instead of actually competing with them, present yourself in a way that lets them know you are an absolute complement to the work they're doing that will lead to the best outcome for the patient or the client. So it's not about thinking that a nutritionist or a dietitian, for example, as a health and nutrition coach and practitioner, are going to be competition. It's actually presenting yourself to a naturopath or a nutritionist or a dietitian's office and letting them know, I'm trained in mindset and behavior change to actually help your patients follow through and implement the plans or the recommendations that you have made to them, so that they're not just wasting your time coming back a month later, having not followed the plan and having no results. I can actually help them implement it and help them also address the sabotaging patterns or mindset and behavior patterns that are getting in the way of them actually implementing them into their daily life. So they feel like they're actually getting the support and accountability they need. And when they come back to you, they're feeling more pride in the ability of being able to have achieved what it is that you've asked them to, but don't know how to help them achieve. So if you present it in a way that actually lets them know, I'm a complement to your service, I actually can get more satisfaction for your clients of you and what you offer them, because I'll be helping them actually implement it and put it into practice.
Yeah.
So yes. It's just getting creative in the way of, what kind of introduction letter and information packet could you put together that you could then go and approach some of these professionals with, so that they know you are a viable option in their referral network to refer their clients or patients to you in helping them actually achieve the results that they're wanting to achieve. Because that's where these licensed professionals don't know how to do that for their clients, or they have 10 minutes with a patient or a 15-minute consultation, and there's no real ability to connect with their patient or their client, and certainly not build that rapport needed to help them implement those changes in the client's actual life.
Wow, it's so funny that you saying this, because I've been thinking about that lately. how to approach them and how to go, you know, actually to medical centers. And because do you get a lot of patients? Do they come to you? How does that work? And do doctors really then, you know, believe what you do, or, you know, how does that work? Because of course they need to know that they are paying, you know, maybe for per hour or per program, or, you know, how do you can go about it that's smart and that's, yeah, just that it actually works for both of the parties?
I think you've got to be really clear on your offering and who you're targeting, because firstly, you've got to know who are you wanting to help.
Yeah.
How are you going to help those people? And what is the solution that you ultimately provide that a GP or another licensed registered professional can't provide, that they're not trained in?
Yes.
So that's your first step. Be very, very clear. Who is it that you want to help that may also be seeing these other professionals and maybe not getting the result or outcome that they're paying for, because that's not the job of the GP or the nutritionist or the massage therapist or the dietitian or the osteopath. They don't actually work on mindset or behavior change. They don't actually help you work through the challenges as a client of what's getting in the way of you actually putting that into practice. What are the fears or the limiting beliefs that you might have that are preventing you from being able to follow through and do the work or follow the plan or whatever it might be? So be very clear on your who first, because when you define who is it that you want to work with and then how you're going to work with them, if you design your program, say, for example, you've got someone who is prescribed blood pressure medication, but they're not given any dietary information. They might be referred to a nutritionist, but the nutritionist just gave them a plan and said, okay, this is a plan for you to help reduce your blood pressure. I'd like you to follow this for the next, 14 days and then come back. What is the client supposed to do with that? So this is where you've got to get really clear on who is it that I want to work with, and I know how to help them, that I can actually help implement the changes that they are being asked to follow or make, that of course they're going to have difficulty doing on their own, that I understand why they've been given that plan to follow. So if you understand through your training the nutrition and the choices that need to be made to help reduce and lower blood pressure issues, then you'll understand why they've been given the plan that they have. You then can help interpret that for them. And instead of actually just encouraging them to follow the plan exactly, go through the plan with them. You're not the one who's prescribed it, but you're the one who can actually help educate the client why they've been given that and what is it about these particular foods when they've got quite a connection or a relationship to other types of foods that they're just not ready to give up yet. So this is where you can actually help them be more realistic. Okay, you could follow this plan to the T for 14 days. And if you've got the willpower to do that, then that's fantastic. But what are you going to do beyond that when the cravings kick in, or when you've like, great, tick, I followed this plan for 14 days. Now I've gone back to the dietitian. She's happy. Now I can go and enjoy some of my, my croissants or my bread or my tea with 3 sugars again. So it's actually not just trying to help them follow the plan for the 14 days, but helping them understand why do I need to follow this plan? Helping them understand about nutrition and ingredient labels and looking beyond, made with natural ingredients, or looking beyond the baked, not fried, actually looking at the ingredients and understanding what they're putting into their body and what impact that has on their brain and their nervous system and their cells and their hormones. And then helping them to identify the mindset challenges, the limitations of their willpower. Willpower is okay for a time, but it's not for long term. So even if they were to follow a plan properly for 14 days, they're going to get a little bit sidetracked, because after a while it's going to, okay, well, it's only for 14 days. It's only for 14 days. The thing is, you can't just follow a plan for 14 days and expect that all your health problems are going to miraculously reverse and then you can go back to the way that you were eating. The way that you were eating, the way that you were sleeping, what you were drinking, what you were thinking, these are all aspects of how you got to the point in your health that you did, that you needed this kind of intervention or help in the first place. So it's looking at it from a long-term point of view. This is where you can kind of think, okay, if traditionally someone's given a 14-day or 30-day plan to follow, and that is really designed, hopefully designed to be a long-term kind of transition into a healthier lifestyle, you're the one who's going to help them transition into the healthier lifestyle. So you could actually have a 6-week plan, which will see them through a 14-day or a 30-day plan, and it will see them through into greater ability during that time, not just to implement the plan, whether it's perfectly or not, but to actually understand why, to learn more about food, to catch their limiting beliefs, to start to challenge their old behaviors, to start to make those small little steps every day consistently that will help them start to reap the benefits and feel more motivated, and hopefully get clearer on the meaning of why do I now want to continue along this path beyond this plan or beyond this 30 days, because it's giving them so many more health rewards. So that's the focus for you, to differentiate. I'm not a GP, I'm not a nutritionist or a dietitian. I'm not doing these, giving you these plans and telling you go for it. I'm actually the one that's going to help you implement it long term. So what you can say to the practice managers, because they're the people to target and talk to in order to get to the GPs, then the GPs who may have special interest in diabetes or special interest in gut issues or special interest in stress-related conditions, all of these things can be nourished and supported with a healthy diet. What you can do from that point is actually design your programs around those specifics. So you can have a 6-week program designed to reduce blood pressure. Try and be as specific as you can in the program that you name, or the how you're going to do it, how you're going to help your clients, because that then is more demonstrated to the practitioners of what your role really is in helping implement those changes for your clients. And present that to them.
It's amazing how you, and it's we're talking about the study, of course, here too, and everything that you just mentioned and how you work with clients is exactly what you get taught in the study, in what you are teaching us as coaches, and it's so it's good that I hear this now, that I know that I'm doing the right thing, and that those small steps, just a small step will be a bigger step in the end, and all those little things and all those habit changes that you do with clients, and it just makes so much. Even I normally start with all my clients, like, start with drinking water in the morning. Like, that's a first 1 glass in the morning. Just do that, because it's such a small, it's free, it's easy to do, and that will be, that will make so much more benefits for them in their life, in their bodies and stuff like that. And you just telling me about what what you actually give us in the study too, because I think a lot of people that may be doing this study, in the beginning, you're so like, oh, can I talk the way Viki does? Can I talk the way other people do? And you just need to do it, and you need to be confident, and you need to, or even if you're not confident, just start somewhere, because as you said too, you will always know more than the other person, and you can teach something that you got taught maybe years and years ago, and that's why I really like that you were saying that, and I think it's a really good thing. That was, for me, what you just said about how to make an info package, especially for who you want to target and who's going actually to the, to the doctor or to a practitioner, that you can help. So thanks for that. That's really, that's a huge tip for me, that I'm like, yes, I'm definitely going to do that. Yeah.
The other thing is, listen to what people are saying, and this can be just in everyday conversation. When you listen to what they're saying about what they're trying to achieve, or, there's always someone talking about their health problem. And I went to the doctor for this, or I went to a nutritionist, or I went to a dietitian, or I went to the massage therapist, or I went to a personal trainer. When you listen to what they were looking for and what they actually received, sometimes you can actually start to see the gaps in their approach or the approach that was shown to them. And that's where you can start to think, okay, so this is what I'm hearing a lot of people say when they're trying to make this kind of change. There is this gap of support needed that hasn't been fulfilled. How can I fit into that gap? How can I provide the kind of service that the person is trying to describe that they didn't get? That's how you can also really look at the marketplace of where you want to slot into it for the service that you provide, and how you can actually refine your approach in not just your message of what you're putting out there and how you help people solve particular problems, but also the service in general of what's missing. Of you may be seeing this person, you may be seeing that kind of practitioner or trainer or licensed professional. But if you still haven't achieved your goal, it's likely because of this, this, and this. And these are the things that you pick up in conversation when talking to people about what's missing in their experience of trying to get where they want to go.
Yeah.
Remember, a coach is designed to help people get from where they are to where they want to go. So we've got to have a look at what are the other professions doing and providing to them that isn't actually helping them figure out how to get from here to here. That's our job. That's where we fit in. So where specifically in your target area is a gap there where people aren't getting the kind of support or accountability or exercises or tools to take those small yet consistent steps daily to help lead them to where they want to go.
Yeah.
Where is that gap? Identify it and then fill that gap. Insert yourself in there and become part of that network of professionals that are really all trying to help provide the best health outcome for their clients.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. I can listen to you all day. It's so true. I love it. I just had another question for you, and I know you've been saying this to a couple of other students, of course, too, or in calls or on videos. And what I normally like to work with are 3-month or 6-month programs. But how can you advise somebody if they just want to have one call or one? What would you do if people come to you? Like, they can of course try it out. I do normally a free introduction call. But what if people, or how can you help people if they just want 1 or 2 calls? And if so, you normally probably can get them to really open up and to realize that they need more than that. But I'm just thinking, is it worth to put in, in an effort or as a marketing idea to do 1 or 2 calls? Is that something that you could do, and what could you do?
You could do that, but what would it be serving? Would it be serving your client, really? Would it really be serving them in some way, apart from giving them a taste of coaching and giving them an experience with you to then confirm, well, this has been a great experience. I've got some insights. I've got great information, and I have a good rapport with this person, and I'm now convinced that they can help me. That's usually the purpose of the first session. So if you want to have somebody come and see you because they're unsure whether or not you're the right person for them or what you're offering is actually going to provide the solution that they're looking for, then you can always say to them, look, I generally work with people for 3 months or 6 months because change takes time. And to implement the change that you're looking for requires consistency over the duration so that you're not overwhelming yourself with too much too soon, which is what most people do and why they fail. This is why I usually always work with people over 3 to 6 months, so I can make sure I get you to the outcome that you're after, and also that you have the tools and the knowledge to continue to maintain that change for long term.
Yeah.
So you can tell them, I'm happy to do an initial session with you. And at the end of that session, you can then decide which program you would like to take for whatever duration.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just offering one-offs isn't really going to be able to help a client do too much. If it wasn't to actually give them an experience and a taste of it and then invite them to choose what they feel is best for them beyond that, unless, of course, there is something popping up that they can't, or they've already made the decision, no, I'm just going to get what I can for this one session and that's that. Well, that's something that you can't necessarily control outside of not offering one-off sessions. That's what your discovery call is for. In your discovery call, you're giving them an opportunity to feel heard, to feel safe and respected with no judgment, and also to give them a little taste of coaching skills in the form of paraphrasing and reflecting back to them what you've actually heard them say. And often just paraphrasing, reflecting back to them what they've said and confirming your understanding of what they've said they really want to achieve and what seems to be getting in the way is enough to reassure them that you've heard them, you've validated what they've said, and that you are ready and able to help move them beyond that. Particularly if you reassure them that the kinds of people you work with struggle with these very same issues. And generally over the 3 or the 6 month sessions with me or months with me, they're able to achieve and then feedback to them exactly what they said they wanted. They're able to achieve deeper sleep, which leads to greater energy, which leads to improved skin tone, fuller hair, 3 meals regularly, feeling good within themselves, improving their digestion, and all the good things that they're after. You're just repeating that back to them. Because you know if someone follows the protocol that you have, that they're going to get the result, right? It's the other mindset behavioral shifts underneath that you want to help teach them along the way that takes time, because you're unwiring old patterns and you're rewiring and replacing them with new ones. And you want to make sure that those new patterns stick. And that's where the consistency and small steps over the duration will help them to stick, as well as aligning their mindset to support them, not to sabotage them, not to berate themselves if they make a mistake. Oh, okay, all right, I made a mistake. And today I just had a down day, didn't realize that I was eating my emotions when I reached for the Tim Tam or the tub of ice cream. And, you know, okay, that's a learning curve. So instead of berating themselves and getting down on themselves, you're teaching the tools to recognize when their emotions are getting the better of them and when they're reaching for food to fix their feelings, which of course we know food can't fix feelings. So those are the kinds of things that you're going to be teaching them along the way so that they can actually attend to their needs, emotional, physical, or otherwise, in the moment by becoming more aware and readily available to recognize and then attend to them at that point much sooner than letting it get out of hand. So with all of those things that you're teaching them and you're taking through over the duration, in that discovery call, you're letting them know change doesn't happen. The kind of change that you're after generally takes my clients around 3 months or more to really make stick for the long term, so that you'll never have to have this issue in your life again. You'll never have to continue to struggle with your weight again, because you'll know what to do. You'll never have to try and follow a plan from the dietitian again, because you'll be eating healthy whole foods more regularly and balancing out your diet for the long term with greater energy, better skin, thicker hair, and all the other good things that come with it. So if you can convey that importance of the duration isn't just about trying to take you through a program and charge a lot of money. The duration is necessary to help you and your brain and your nervous system wire in these new habits over time, so that maintaining them after our time together is so much more easier for you to do, that you'll want to get up in the morning and drink a glass of water and go for a walk. You'll want to take a nice bath a couple of times a week with some Epsom salts and just relax and actually put that time towards your own well-being and your own mental health. You'll be wanting to do these things long term, not feeling like they're a chore and that you have to. So it's the switch in mindset that takes time. If you can let them know that in your discovery call in 15 to 30 minutes and confirm for them I hear you, I understand what you're saying. Repeat it back to them, confirm that you understand what they really want instead, and let them know that the types of people who you see struggle with these same challenges. It's quite universal when we don't take care of ourselves, when we don't attend to our needs, when we don't get enough sleep, when we eat poorly, when we stress eat, when we emotional eat, when we skip meals. It's quite universal what happens. It detracts from our ability to get up and feel great about ourselves. And we all want to get up and feel great in various ways, emotionally, physically, and energetically. So if you can get your idea of what to say on that discovery call down pat, and even in a little script for yourself, so that there's a formula to follow that really lets your client know, I'm not selling to you, I'm being honest in respect to change takes time. And if this change is really important to you, and this is something that you want to get over once and for all, that you finally want to learn how to navigate properly, safely, effectively for the long term, so that you don't have to have this issue constantly plaguing you with your health or your well-being or your mental health even, then this is what I require. I require 3 months of your time to help teach you these things, to implement into your life daily, and help you take those positive steps forward to get where you want to go, to feel the way that you want to be feeling, not just for a short term, but in the long term, and knowing how to do that for yourself. And that's what I aim to give every client who works with me: the ability, the knowledge, the tools, the exercises, the empowered belief in themselves that I can do this, I can change.
Yeah.
So that's how I would approach that in a one session. I wouldn't necessarily offer a one-off session unless you're inviting them to have an experience with you, to then decide after that session if they want to work with you beyond that time. 98% of the time when I do that with clients, they always take a package, because they can then feel and experience the value of having support to help them get where they want to go, because it's very hard to try and create this kind of change on your own, particularly when you're knee deep in it and you're really kind of stuck for, I don't know what to do now. I've tried this and I've tried this and I've tried this and nothing's really worked long term. Well, unless you actually approach it holistically and you get the mind on board in alignment with what you are trying and attempting to do here, then most of the change that you try and make will be short term and won't last. But that's not the kind of coaching that I offer.
No.
So if you can have that self-belief in your own message of what you want to tell your clients in that discovery call, and have them understand from the get-go, I'm not here to do this changing for you, but I am here to support you and take every step along the way with you when you commit to your own health and realize that this isn't a quick fix. It's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to happen in 1 or 3 sessions. It's going to be incremental change over the duration of the time with me, so that we have the time required in order to get you to that outcome, but also have the tools and the ability to maintain that beyond working with me.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I normally say. And even seeing it now in my clients, it's just amazing. Even working with them for, the first couple of weeks, like small step make major changes, and after 3 or 6 months, their whole life has changed. And you gave them tools for a lifetime. They will never go back to that person because they were so happy and seeing themselves now. And most of them, they can't even remember anymore how they were. So that's why I love that tool, the Wheel of Life, the questions that you do in the introduction call, or, that you send them the pre-questionnaire. It's just amazing to see. And I write every time after a coaching call, I write them a whole email, what we talked about, stuff like that. So we can always refer back from where they actually came from. And this is another question that I get a lot of, or not a lot, but you still see, and I think you just mentioned that too, like a lot of people are afraid to say that they are working with a coach, or they think it's because PTs, nutritionists, dietitians, that's so normal to say in this world now, that they are going there, and then they get a plan, and then after 3 weeks they stop. But what we actually do as coaches it will never stop. You will always continue with these tools because it's, it's habit change, it's mindset change, it's breaking things down and building things up. How can we tell people more that what we do on a holistic way is, I wouldn't say it's better, but it's so much more than they will get with some other professions out there. I'm happy to talk to people what I'm doing and explain them what I do, but you still see a lot of people that are resistant to the idea, even though you could help them, and I know you could be like, this will be life-changing for you, but they will still go to a personal trainer. They will still go, why do you think that it's still such a thing for people to go to a coach and actually get, working side to side, one-on-one with somebody to actually make changes in their lives instead of just one section of their life?
I think part of it is quite a few different aspects here. Part of it is that coaching is still fairly new in some parts of the world. We're in Australia at the moment, right? So in Australia, coaching is still taking off. But it's not just coaching, it's also seeing a counselor, seeing a psychologist, going to the doctor when you've got an itch that you just don't want to have to acknowledge. Sometimes it's easier not to go and get help because you don't want to admit that you actually need it. And a lot of people are like that in not wanting to feel like they're a failure because they can't figure it out and do it on their own, which leads us to the second thing where a lot of people often know what to do. They just don't know how to do it. So it's not needing more information, which is the misinformation they might have about what coaches do, telling them what to do, giving them information, etc., which is not what coaching is. But they need the tools to help them implement the information and the knowledge that they already have. They need that guidance and support and accountability. And then the third thing would be that misunderstanding of what do coaches actually do that's different from a GP, or that's different from going to a nutritionist or a dietitian or a personal trainer. Like what are they going to do differently that the others would? And that's just really coming down to lack of awareness. And also, I think within the industry, lack of appropriately explaining and getting it out there to promote what coaches do and how they work differently from these other kinds of practitioners or professionals. So it's a combination of a few different things. And we're dealing with people who are stuck in habitual behaviors who may have been conditioned from their own upbringing that when you have a cough, you go to the GP. When you feel depressed, you go to the GP and get a prescription. When you're struggling with your weight, you go to a nutritionist. So, there are these outdated ideas of when you have this problem, you go to this person. And I think because coaching is new in some parts, and because there is a misunderstanding of what coaches actually do and provide and can assist clients with, there is this lack of understanding of the benefits of going to a coach and how they actually can help you implement the changes that other professionals and practitioners can't, because they're trained differently. They're trained specifically to fill in that gap that GPs and other practitioners aren't necessarily trained in at all. So it's educating people. That's where we come back to talk to people about what you're doing. Talk to people when you're studying a coaching course and let them know from your perspective of your training and when you're learning how it's different and why it's different and what we focus on and what we don't. We don't focus on the past, we focus on the future. We don't just tell people what to do. We actually have a client-centered approach where we assume our client already has the answers. They already have the knowledge. They possess the awareness on a deeper level than what they will have when we work with them of what really is the best course of action for them. But they're just lacking the how. They're lacking the tools and the exercises and the action steps to know how to implement those changes. But often they already do know on some level. So we're there not to tell them what to do. We're not a consultant. We're not advising them. We're not putting a strategy in front of them and saying, this is what you need to do. Or I think you should do this. We don't do that. We present the idea to the client. We present the facts to them. We paraphrase their story back to them. And where necessary, we might actually take a moment to frame to them a situation or scenario and then feedback something that they've just said that might not be in alignment with what they want or what they've been doing. So that we're actually helping grow their own awareness of their situation from different perspectives, so that they can actually step up out of the situation that they're in long enough in our sessions to look at it with more compassion, or look at it with deeper insight or more curiosity instead of judging themselves. And in that process, start to become aware of what is it that's poking its ugly head up all the time that keeps wanting to pull them back or sabotage them or get in the way. So we then can help through our open-ended questioning, through being curious and compassionate in our own perspective of the client's situation and what they're going through, and helping them through our questioning and through our insights and our perspective, invite them to look at their situation differently and really get in touch with, what do I really need in this situation? What need am I trying to fulfill by engaging in that behavior? What am I really believing about myself by consistently having that thought, that limiting thought that I can't do this, or it's too hard, or I'm not smart enough? We help them isolate those patterns that are not congruent to the life that they want to be living. So that through that awareness, that insight, that perspective, that questioning, we can then start to bring to awareness what needs to be acknowledged or healed or released or processed. And we can help facilitate that space for the client to do exactly what they need to do in challenging and shifting and confronting things that are just simply getting in the way and are not relevant or helpful or true for the kind of person or experience that they're wanting to create in their lives. So we can actually help clear the pathway for them mentally, so that, and emotionally in some cases, so that they then have a greater freedom within themselves to make better choices and to know why they're making those choices, because they value it, because it's meaningful to them, because they've attached a positive emotion to the outcome, because it has such a powerful force for helping them visualize the kind of life that they want. And they know now why they want to have that. And they know now that they value what that life represents to them, and that the choices that they have been making haven't necessarily aligned to their values, maybe because they weren't even really clear on what they value most, to see where they were really letting themselves down in their choices, because most of their choices have been unconscious, conditioned, habitual programs that they didn't even realize that they were operating within. So these are the amazing things that we as coaches that focus on mindset and behavior change can actually help a client firstly become aware of, and then start to challenge and to reshape their ideas or their associations with or around these certain events that formed these opinions or beliefs about themselves or their abilities, so that we can then start to pave the way for them to help them make decisions that better serve them, knowing why and the benefits of it, and aligning with it holistically, aligning with it not just consciously, but internally, unconsciously, subconsciously, whichever term that you want to use, so that everything feels good about moving forward towards that very thing, and allowing it to actually manifest and come to them as they take inspired action every day. That's what we as coaches get to facilitate. And a GP can't do that. A nutritionist can't do that. A dietitian can't do that. A massage therapist, a personal trainer can't do that. They focus on their own specific things. We focus on the implementation.
Yeah. And I think you got exactly what you mentioned. There's a couple of times that maybe not even using the term holistic coach or holistic health and nutrition coach, but you just said, you're using more the terms of like mindset and behavior change coaching. What I do nowadays, because I just got that, that I had the feeling that I needed to explain myself in a different way. So what I now introduce myself more as a goal achiever and a balance coach for women.
Great.
And because, we can all set goals. Like I can, it's not that I'm a goal setter coach, because you have your own goals. I want to achieve those goals for you. I want to have you in balance again, so you can actually achieve, and you have the strength to go for those goals and to achieve them. And I hope in 3 months, and I think that's so beautiful to see with clients when you work with them for 3 or 6 months, is that they had a small goal, or maybe a really big goal for them, like lose 10 kilos. Never imagine what those 10 kilos actually meant for them. That meant, they gained happiness, they gained more balance, more structure, self-control. And, you teach them how to love themselves and their body, being aware and conscious about their thoughts and stuff. And it's not about those 10 kilos. They could achieve 8 kilos after 3 months, but they are happier than ever. And that's what it's all about. Mm-hmm. And I think for a lot of people, that's really hard to say. And I was even surprised by some of my clients, and still I'm like, and I'm not even doing this for 10 years like you do. So you must be having so many great stories. But just to see how far people can go, and that they didn't believe in themselves anymore, and now they do. And even after a few weeks, they're like, I can actually do this. I can actually achieve this. And, you just give them tiny little tools here and there, tiny little changes here and there, and it does so much. And just to see what they actually achieve after those 3 to 6 months, it's just so much. And it's just amazing to see. And it's all about 100%, dedication. That's the only thing I ask for my clients. Is the only thing I need from you is your dedication, and just believe in the process and believe in what I tell you, that will work, and teamwork, and, going and doing something that fits your life. And that's why I think it's so different, again, to a personal trainer or to any other profession that is more, I've got this plan for this client, that plan will probably work for you too. But everybody is so different, and every life is so different. And that's why I love to work now with somebody's life, seeing those changes and seeing how their life just changes. It's just amazing. So what do you do if somebody has, say, a partner, and you said try to get the partner involved too, and I always try that. But and I luckily haven't gotten to a situation yet. But what if the partner is not going with them, and they feel that they are really pulling? Because in the end, if you work with a woman or a man, most of them are in a partnership, and most of them are all married with a lot of problems that people have. It's like even cooking meals or their food or nutrition, it's they are in this together. So how would you go as maybe a final tip, or how would you go about that? What would you normally say?
Obviously, the ideal scenario is to get the partner on board, because your client lives with them. Your client shares space with them. Your client shares a fridge with them and a kitchen with them. So everything that you're trying to help implement and empower your client to show up and do each day is dependent to some degree on the support of the partner. So the first step is always to ask your client, is your partner on board with this? Are they supportive of this? Are they willing to eat the same way as you and reap the benefits alongside you? And hopefully, in the best case scenario, the partner is on board and is willing to help prepare the meals and eat the same way, and let's eat everything together. It's a little bit different when there are children involved, and children already can be fussy eaters, and that's a frustration in itself. But if the partner isn't on board, it's important to ask why. Why do you think your partner isn't on board with this to support you? And there could be various reasons. And sometimes it can be because the partner doesn't want to change, and they might have a weight issue or a blood pressure issue or a sleep or a gut issue that they don't want to know about and don't want to do anything about. And sometimes it's that fear of, well, if my partner's changing and they're doing something about improving their health and I'm not ready, well, I don't really like that, because it takes away that feeling of safety staying the way that they are, because the thought of changing is just too much. So sometimes you'll have a partner who tries to sabotage, not generally intentionally. There could be reasons for an intentional sabotage from a partner because they don't want their partner to change. They like them just the way that they are, or because they're afraid, well, if my partner gets healthy and loses weight and feels really good about themselves and improves their confidence, maybe they won't like me anymore. They won't love me. They'll fall out of love with me. They won't want to be with me. And then they might decide that, in their lifestyle change of eating better and feeling better and looking better, that they might deserve better with another person. And, so they obviously don't want that to happen in some situations. So that could be a saboteur. Sometimes I have seen in scenarios that the reason that the person stays stuck, the client that's coming to you stays stuck, is because their partner likes them the way that they are. And they're worried, not the partner, but your client is worried, if I make this change for myself, if I finally put myself first, if I actually attend to my own weight issues and I do what's necessary to take care of me for once, I kind of think that I don't want to stay with my partner, that I won't want to stay in a relationship anymore, because I'll have gained the confidence I need to leave the relationship and put myself first, because I know that they're not going to support me, or I know that they don't really want me to do this, or I can see now that they've been trying to keep me this way for quite a while, so that I wouldn't gain confidence and start thinking for myself or putting myself first. So look, there's a whole, as you said, a lot of different dynamics and a lot of different relationships out there, with people who are in relationships in various ways that may show up healthy for each other and supportive, and may not. So you've got to kind of help your client figure out, what kind of relationship do they have? Do they have a stable, open, communicative relationship with a supportive partner who is actually going to be there to help support them in the tough times that may crop up in those first few weeks particularly? And are they willing to support them in helping them make it through to the other side? Are they willing to support them to the point where they're going to show up and do it with them? Or are they going to make it difficult for them by insisting that they continue to eat their own way, or that they have to make separate meals for them and the kids, and you eat your own meals over there so that I don't have to see your chicken food, or see you eating like that when I'm not doing anything about my changes. I don't want to change. If you're going to do that, you can do that on your own. You can do that over there. Okay. So through conversation and questioning your client in that initial discovery session, and I'm not saying this is at the free discovery call, that's not really something to pop up at that time, unless the client brings it up, the prospective client at that time. It is something to explore in the initial session, though, so that you know what you're dealing with. Asking them, do you have supportive network around you? If you do, great, name those people. What do you want to tell them and how they can help you? What are the scenarios that you want them to say something to you and put you back on track, or that you don't want them to say anything? And what is it that they could say or do in those moments of challenge that will be of the greatest support to you? Let them know that, communicate it to them, and let them be there to support you. And you've got to agree in response that you will talk to them when you're struggling. You will reach out to them just like you hope that they would reach out and tell you in a session if they'd had a situation come up during the week that was particularly challenging. So you've got to first off establish, is there a support network outside of your sessions? Because you can only be with them in your sessions and check in on them and follow up throughout your sessions or after your sessions, maybe during the week if that's the kind of additional support or accountability you want to offer, or if they need it. But ultimately, the person that they live with, their partner, their main relationship outside of the one they have with themselves, which incidentally may be the relationship that needs the most work, the one that they have with themselves, that second relationship with their partner or significant other is the relationship that can either make or break their ability to achieve their goals. And in some situations, that partnership may be the reason the person has not been successful in the past. And in some situations, that relationship, or even a lack of relationship, might be the reason why they do succeed and they make those changes. because they are putting themselves first, or they've got the permission or the support of the partner to enable them to put themselves first and make these changes. So you've got to, as a coach, initially work through with the client, what is your support network outside of here and how supportive is your partner? What kind of challenge or protest or sabotage can you see or predict your partner may come up with over this process of change? You know them better than I do, but I want to make sure you've got the support at home when you leave our sessions. So you explore with them what kind of support do they anticipate their partner is going to be able to give them. What can they communicate to their partner to help their partner be aware of the kind of support that they need, and what kind of support would be best suited for the different challenges that are likely to arise. This often comes up from week to week when you're helping your client problem solve any challenges that they see might arise. I've got an event on at this day, and I know that there's always an array of different kinds of foods. Okay, how can we problem solve that? Now, what are you worried about what might happen at that event? I'm worried that I might just be tempted to eat the cupcakes and the sausage rolls and, then start grazing on the nuts. Okay, what time of day is it? Can you prepare and eat a meal before you go? Can you have your water bottle with you so that you're drinking water and reminding yourself, I'm not really hungry. It's just the look of this food is reminding my salivary glands what this food tastes like, that it used to be appealing to me, but I've already eaten before I came to this event. I know I'm not hungry. I'm going to drink water instead. Or take snacks, protein snacks or something like that in their bag with them so that they've got something else to reach for if they are hungry. Or just reminding themselves, I can have something here if I really, really want it. But if I am going to choose to have something here that isn't on my intended nutritional plan for today, then I'm going to make sure that I thoroughly allowing myself to enjoy this. I'm going to have one mouthful at a time until I feel satiated and satisfied with the taste or the mouthfeel or the sweetness or the creaminess or whatever it was that I was after, until I've got that satisfaction, or until I'm reminded, oh yeah, just another mouthful just wouldn't do it for me anymore because my taste buds are changing. So problem solving ahead of time is the same thing with meals and meal planning or events or other things that might pop up alongside any partner comments or partner behaviors that actually may derail your client, and helping them problem solve that. So you're working with your client and always staying focused on what they want to do. Even if your client is worried that the relationship might not last should they be successful and make these changes, and that's a fear they have in the beginning, you've got to respect whatever your client thinks is the right decision for them and not sway them one way or the other. Just stay focused on your client and helping them make the best choices for them based on their highest good, their values, their needs, their wants, as a person as well as a partner.
Yeah, that is really clear. Yeah, it's always a hard one, I think. But so many good things. I had all these questions, and you, throughout the talks, you were answering them for me. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
It's just amazing to talk to you even, and I've said that to you millions of times, I think already, in all my notes and stuff, but you have so much knowledge and it's so beautiful to hear you talk. Again, I really enjoyed the study, and I hope to study more with you guys, because the way you go about it, it's easy, it's easy to process, just the way you can study in your own time, but also with all the support you get. I'm just so happy that I did this one. The internet is just full of types of studies and you never know which one is good, but because this one was so personal, I don't know, but I'm just really happy that the universe took me to your study and what you make, and even now, still getting the emails with calls that you can attend, that extra things that you have, that you get in your modules, and it's beautiful.
Thank you.
No, thank you. I can't thank you enough for everything. I'm really, really happy.